I'm back at the Tobacco River Dam. You can see it just over my shoulder here, and I know I say it at the beginning of every single one of these videos how appreciative I am of all my Patreons and people sending me letters through the mail, but I truly am, so I have to do it again. Thank you to all my new Patrons and for people sending me letters through the mail. Huge thanks to Beverly for her letter. If you want to send me anything, I will pop my P.O. box up on the screen right now. But your support continues to allow me to keep documenting what's happening here so that this information, these facts, and this progress is not lost to history. It's not every day that you're able to see dams being rebuilt nowadays. Most of the time they are being torn down. So if you want to help me, the links for that are in the description down below for both my PayPal and my Patreon account. By the time I go ahead and edit and release this video, we'll be back from our honeymoon as well. Right now, next week, we're actually leaving for our honeymoon when I'm filming this, and I won't have time to get it edited before the time we go. So if you want to check out some of those videos from us going to Hawaii, those will be on my other channel. Link for that is also in the description down below, the Mowbray family channel. Let me go ahead now and we'll turn the camera around and we'll take a little bit closer look as to what's happening here at the Tobacco River Dam. You can see a lot of work still going on. Crane is moving. They're about to fly in. Looks like a generator over here right now. Forms are going in place for the concrete pour. Let's head on up that way now and we'll take a little bit closer look though. I'm now standing directly behind the Tobacco River Dam, so you can see the water flowing over here through Bay 3. Bay 2 still has 4 stop logs keeping the water from coming over top of this spillway, and Bay 1 is where all the action is happening right now. So we can see some of these forms, these concrete forms that are in place right now for them to go ahead and pour the new 18-inch retaining wall. Up here on this one, this will be the first pour here, and then this one will be the second pour. So they got both of the side bulkheads, they're called, installed. They still need to put the front bulkhead on here, but that will happen if they go ahead and remove the scaffolding. Up here, this steel support brace and beams running across will actually be encased in that 18-inch retaining wall. You can actually see a lot of the tie-ins of the rebar in here though. So a lot of that work is all done now. So just quite a bit of work since I've been here last. For the number of pours that they're probably going to have along here is looking like about 10 different pours. So we have 1 and 2 already set up, ready to go. By the time this video is released though, some of this information may have changed. You know, looking at the engineering diagrams and details, they got to maybe change some things on the fly if they get some new information as to what's happening here. You can see all these holes here in this wall though. That's when I was here last, they were using that bore and boring through into those buttresses, and then they can go ahead putting those rebars into those buttresses to go ahead and tie that in with the new 18-inch retaining wall that's going to be poured here. So we'll take a look over here again. This is the Cofferdam. A Cofferdam right here underneath this tarp. There's also a Cofferdam up here that is blocking the water from flowing over top of Spillway 1. A little bit of rubble back here behind Spillway 2. And then Spillway 3 all the way over here on this side. This will need the exact same thing to happen as This will need the exact same thing that's happening right here on Spillway 1 with this new retaining wall being poured is over here along Spillway 3. So they're going to need to go ahead, break out the rest of the spillway here, and then they're going to go ahead and pour a new retaining wall over there on that side. So like I said, pouring of the concrete is going to be happening tomorrow. I already had scheduled to come out here and film this day, so we're actually seeing a little bit of that pre-work. Maybe I will include a little bit of the video if it is provided to me of them actually going ahead and pouring some of these forms, but if not, hopefully we will be able to see that when they go ahead and pour the retaining wall over here along Spillway 3. Let's head on up here towards the top right behind the Cofferdam and we'll get a view of that. And actually right now I'll probably go ahead, throw the drone up in the air, and we'll check out some of that aerial video. Jumping into some of this drone video now, we're up at 400 feet in altitude. And before I get this started, I just want to thank everybody for using my Amazon affiliate links in the description down below. Those are links to all of the equipment that I use to produce these videos. And if you go ahead, click those links and purchase something from Amazon, it doesn't actually have to be the item that I'm linked to. Within 24 hours of clicking that link, Amazon goes ahead and kicks a little bit of money back towards the channel. So it's another way to help out if you're interested in doing that and purchasing something from Amazon. And thank you to all the people that have been doing that. So again, we're dropping in altitude, probably only about 100 feet in altitude now, and I'm kind of paying close attention to the counterweight here on the end of this crane. You can see it over here on the left. That would not be good to go ahead and run into that cable with the drone. The drone would probably drop directly into the water below and be a loss forever. But great shot here, seeing the forms that are in place. We could see Form 1 and Form 2, or as they like to call them, the bulkheads. Bulkhead is not in place over there on that Form 2, and we can see the water flowing through Bay 3. Again, Bay 2 has the 4 stop logs lowered, so no water can go ahead and flow through that area. The time that I'm filming this video, we actually just got back from our honeymoon from Hawaii a couple days ago, so hopefully I'm able to get to those videos from our honeymoon soon and get those edited and up on my other channel. But, you know, I just have a ton of videos to edit right now. I'm going to be going back out to Edenville and Tobacco River Dam again this week and filming, as well as I'm going to be going out to the Wallace Stone Quarry there in Bayport and doing a tour of there and showing where all the riprap comes from that Fisher uses. Probably going to go there on a day that they're actually blasting and able to get some cool footage of them blasting some of that riprap and how they go ahead and process it after. So again, now we're in the front of the dam, probably about 100 feet in altitude again. We'll come right up here a little bit closer, be able to take a look at that cofferdam, some of that scaffolding that's in place, as well as the forms are a little bit harder to see, but we can see that steel structure, that beam that will go ahead and that will be encased into the new wall when it is poured. I did go ahead and look at the live camera and I wasn't able to see any action going on, any pours happening. So actually when I go out there on Tuesday, I'm hoping to actually be able to film some of that. Hopefully they're pouring that day. You never know though. We'll see when I get out there. And over here on this furthest bay, the water is flowing right through the center there. So not fully intact. I'll clarify that from my last video that I filmed a little bit later on, but kind of cool being able to see directly through this spillway and watching the water go over top of the new Weir spillway just below that water level there. I do have a few photos that were provided to me of when the Cofferdam was being flown in by the 360-ton crane, so I will be showing those very shortly, as well as the front bulkhead for that pour number 2 was being flown in. So we'll jump into a little bit more of the GoPro footage from when I was there on site, and then directly after that GoPro footage, I will cover a few of those photos and describe what is happening there. But again, here's that cofferdam. Here's the view directly behind the cofferdam now. So cofferdam's out here, right here in front of me. This is the Tobacco River Dam up this direction. You follow that all the way up there towards the north and you'll actually run into the Beaverton Dam. If you go even further north, you'll actually run into the Chapel Dam. So water level is not too low right now. We actually got a decent amount of rain this week, but you can actually see over the top of the cofferdam. So just holding the GoPro over the top of it, you can get a view over the top and look at the water level. You can actually see where a lot of that old sediment was piled right here in front of the Tobacco River Dam, the outline there. And over here to this side, this is Spillway 3. So Spillway 3 all the way over here on the far side, we can see all the amount of water that's flowing through there right now. Because like I said, Spillway 2 is blocked off with these stop logs. Looks like it's about 1.5 stop logs from going over the top of it, so a little bit higher than the last time I was out here. And these cables running down to the top of the stop logs are used to raise and lower those so that they can allow water to go through here if they wanted. And those are raised and lowered with the 150-ton crane that is here on site. So we'll go ahead, we'll turn the camera around to this side now. Here's the back side of that cofferdam. So they use that 360-ton crane from McNally to fly that in. I actually got a couple pictures here that I'll actually pop in this video, and you can see a little bit of that crane or this cofferdam being flown in. I'm going to try to describe what's happening in these photos from when I was not out there on site, but these photos are of the cofferdam that is in front of Bay 1 that was being flown in by the 360-ton crane by McNally. We can kind of see a little bit of how this cofferdam is constructed. This is when it was first being fastened down, see a little bit of water shooting from underneath it and the bolts and shims that were being used to fasten it in place. Directly behind the cofferdam now, no more water is there, and we can see those Weir spillways. Then they went ahead, installed the Cofferdam downriver, and started removing some of the rubble. You can see here they got a nice work surface now with all the rubble removed from when that spillway was demolished. And again, scaffolding's now in place, Cofferdam's over there, and this is that bulkhead for the front of that pour number 2 being flown in. So slowly being lowered into place. You can see that being lowered down a little bit further. Hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more of this work when I'm out there on Tuesday. Here's all that scaffolding though, right here along the west retaining wall. And again, just kind of tying in this last little bit of rebar. They can go ahead, remove the scaffolding and put on that front bulkhead to get ready for pouring number 2 here. We'll come up here a little bit further to see where this Cofferdam ends. There's a couple shims, a little bit of water flowing underneath it, but hardly nothing at all. I got a couple pumps to go ahead and pump that out. And then this rebar sticking out right here. So these are the rebar that are actually going into the buttresses over here on the other side. And they got a little bit of that epoxy that's already cured, holding those in place. So looking at the form wall a little bit better here, these are actually the tie bar. So you can see this form down here, those nuts that are actually holding that form in place. That's what those go on to hold that front bulkhead on. There's some tie bars that these are the ones that are actually going into the buttresses. You can see a little bit of that epoxy sealant in there to hold those in place. And then a lot of this rebar is just kind of tied on front. Then back in here we have a basket that is just kind of holding that away for spacing. So kind of correcting a little bit of the terminology that I'm using. I am learning here every little bit from the engineering guys, so it's kind of interesting and very interesting to me. Looks like we have a little bit of that more waterproofing gasket material too to keep the water from going between the pores. I'm up here at the top of the dam now. Just made the long trek up this really long staircase, a little bit out of breath. Guess that's getting me prepared for next week when we're in Hawaii. We'll be doing a ton of hiking, so I better get more in shape for that. But there's not a whole lot that you can see different from up here. Let's come up here and maybe look at the landscape though. You know, back here we have the M30 temporary causeway bridge in the background. That is a Bailey bridge. We have Stryker's Marina just over here in this direction. We're able to see a little bit of this work from my live camera. So over the next couple weeks, if you actually want to see what's happening here, make sure you keep checking out that live camera. You'll actually probably be able to see them pour the forms from here. Definitely probably be able to see the concrete truck or the boom coming over the top of the dam for putting the concrete down here into the forms. Again, here's what things look like up here towards the north. A lot of vegetation growing on the lake bed. Not a whole lot right here next to the embankment, just a couple cottonwood trees, a couple weeds down here. But let's take a look over the top of the dam now. So like I said, right here is that Cofferdam. Couple scaffolding pieces left in here yet. And then here is the steel structure that is going to be actually poured into the concrete. I'll hold the GoPro out a little bit further and see if you can actually see where that steel concrete is going to go and be encased with the concrete. Up here is the top of the catwalk. The gate's locked right now, so we can't get it in there and see the view from in there. But we'll definitely be able to see a lot of this from the drone perspective anyways. Yeah, things are looking really good here. You know, everyone's doing some great work. The engineering teams, the construction teams that are working on this project, everyone's working really fast. And progress, ton of progress here, always. Over here on the south side of the dam, you can take a look down here now too and see a little bit more of those steel beams, the scaffolding, and then over here, this far where we can see the plywood, that is going to be pour number 1, and pour number 2 is going to happen directly down here in this direction. I'm not exactly sure where the GoPro is pointing. I'm just holding it kind of over the top here, and I'm staying behind this little wall that's here. So here's downriver of the Tobacco River. About 1 to 2 miles downriver from here, this actually meets back up with the Tittabawassee River, and the confluence is just down there in that direction. There's actually a lot of erosion control work happening down there by the Curtis Road Bridge. I'll film a little bit of that, but that will be a separate video. Again, Fisher Contracting is doing that work. So one last shot, seeing the water coming through Spillway 3 and going over the sill and going downriver. I think in the last video I actually mentioned quite a bit that Spillway 3 being intact. That's not true at all. Spillway 3 is definitely no longer fully intact, or else the water would not be flowing through the center of the spillway. But intact, I mean that you can actually still see the outline of the back and the front face of the spillway. So that's what I meant by that. I'm sure, I haven't released that video yet, but I'm sure there will be a few people that call me out and say, Spillway 3 is no way near being intact since the water is flowing right through the center of it. So I'm gonna go ahead now, throw the drone up in the air, and we'll check out a few more of those aerial videos. Here's the shot that I always get when I'm out there filming with my drone at these dams. Just go down river a little bit further so you're able to take in the entire site and then fly directly up behind the back of the dam. So great shot of the water coming over the top of the spillway. I think I left the drone here a little bit further too to kind of take in the view and get a little bit of time-lapse video of that water flowing over the top of the spillway there. But yeah, great shot here. The next clip here that we're going to jump into will be from the north side. This shot now, we are facing towards the south on the north side of the dam. Again, great shot of the Cofferdam and all the scaffolding in place behind there. I'll gain altitude a little bit further and fly a little bit closer so we're able to get a little bit more of that bird's eye perspective. You can see a lot of the water shooting out the side of the Cofferdam that is towards the south of Bay 1. That's just kind of pumping out so that this area, the work area, does not go ahead and get flooded. Also, when they go ahead and pour that concrete, they don't want any of that water being in there to obstruct a good pour from occurring. So good shot from the north side of the dam, looking at the forms that are in place for pour 1 and pour 2. Go ahead and turn the camera a little bit further here. Get a kick out of the thin ice sign. Right now we do not have any thin ice, but I'm sure it will be happening very shortly. Temperatures are cooling down right now as the time that I'm filming this voiceover, and we're starting to see a lot more of the fall colors. It's amazing what just 2 weeks from when I filmed this video, everything is completely green, but now 2 weeks later, we're starting to get a lot more of those colors. In this shot right here, we can see a little bit of that area where a lot of the fishermen would come down and fish to the access point. I did ask the question of when that will be reopened, and after the work is done here, pouring the retaining wall on the east and west side, they will go ahead and they're supposed to be reopening that fisherman access point. So last shot here with the drone, flew over and got a little bit closer view of the bulkhead, the front bulkhead for pour 2. They were kind of just starting to lay this out in place. That's why I went ahead and already attached the photos from when they were flying this bulkhead into place. But we can kind of see a little bit more of the work that was happening, the prep work of when they were going ahead and assembling this bulkhead. A lot of different parts here and different forms that they have to take into account to be able to make sure that everything is correct when this goes into place. So this bulkhead was flown into place, aligned, and then they went ahead and just attached the nuts to attach that front bulkhead to the form for that pour number 2. Again, now we're facing towards the north, up the Tobacco River. Another great shot of the backside of the dam. I'm on my way back to the truck right now, and I just wanted to say that if you guys have watched this video this long, you're definitely enjoying the content. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I think there's only about 40% of the people that are watching my videos that are actually subscribed to them. So it definitely helps a lot. Also, make sure you leave a like on the video, a comment or a question down below. All of those things really help out a lot. And you know, if you're already watching the videos, you might as well go ahead and subscribe, because you will be notified that much sooner when I'm posting brand new content. So until the next one, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.